Hey everyone, and welcome to Seemingly Appropriate Podcast. I'm Val.
And I'm Larry.
And this is going to be a fun episode, episode 8.
Wow.
If you're joining us live on Facebook or YouTube, thank you so much. And please comment, tell us your stories. We want this to be an interactive conversation. We are going to talk about 1, dating, 2, DMs, which are direct messages, and no-nos about DMs. Both dating related, hitting on people related, and just not being stupid related. Like, not to be a jerk. And like, just to give you a little backstory, Larry, and everyone listening. Obviously I am in the public eye, and I have been for a really long time. I worked for Disney for almost 10 years, where my social media pages had to be rated, PG at the most. And I really had to project a very specific kind of person. I wasn't being fake, but I just, I had to project a very Disney lifestyle.
Wow.
And then that changed. I was also married at the time. I'm a mother of 1. And then that changed about 5 years ago when I realized, I kind of don't want to be editing my life so much. And then I kind of had a nervous breakdown 2 years after that. And then I got a divorce, or found out that I was getting a divorce 2 years ago this month. I found out that I was going to be 39, almost 40, and single. And I was freaking out because the last time I went on a date before that, Larry, was when I was 18 years old.
That's wild, man. That's a big span.
I was with the same person for 20 years.
Yeah,
and what's your story? So people have the background on both of us.
Well, so I have a divorce in my story too, which I'm still less than excited about. It's funny how long that kind of wound can stay with somebody. But I got married when I was 30, so I dated more recently to the divorce. But I think it's different for men and women, and I think we'll find that as we talk about it today. But I don't know. People presume a lot sometimes, and I mean, we'll find out. But I think people. This is not a show about social media per se, but people, when they're not speaking face to face, probably applies to the telephone, but maybe a little less. People say and do things which are shocking that they maybe don't think about and realize, which, we're going to find that out, right?
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I'm going to be reading a lot of the DMs that I get. I am also a radio host currently. And so because of that, it is my job to make everyone feel like they're my best friend. So I give myself to my audience. I share a lot of things that I feel are relatable. And so when you get that from someone, you automatically feel like you know them. And so I feel like when people now feel like, okay, they know about your kids, they know about your family, they know about your personal life, they feel like they can give you an opinion, or they can comment on it because they feel like they do know you, like they're friends with you, right? So this isn't me complaining about my job. This is just me saying, maybe think about, would you say that to me if you were sitting in front of me? Because Larry, the difference between when you and I were 18, 19, 20 was we had to actually have either a phone conversation with people, or we had to have a conversation face to face. There wasn't hiding behind a text message or a DM or a comment section in social media, right?
Yes. And there's another element to that. Sorry to interrupt, but there's also, look, if somebody wanted to look at you in high school, they had to be physically near you, right? Not now.
Yeah.
They can spend hours. They can spend hours and hours looking at you and everything you've done. And so people, they do feel like super familiar. That happens to me in a different context, actually. A little bit, I've been in the public for some J.R.R. Tolkien stuff, and I work in news. And so a little bit I'm exposed to the same way. And people, I see it more than I experience it. But people see anyone who's on TV, for example, people feel like they know them. So if you're a weatherman, people walk up to you and be like, hey, which kind of tuna do you think would be better for me? Starkist or whatever. And the weather people that I know were like, what are you talking about? And why do you think I know? And why do you know me? But they think they know them because they see them. They're in their living room every day. And that's the same with you, right? That's what you
and that means that I'm doing what I'm supposed to do. And the thing is I do like to connect with people that way. That's why I do podcasts, because the radio show isn't enough for me, right? I love having conversations with people. I post a lot of selfies. I do a lot of things that gives people an excuse to say and do the things that they do. And they use that as an excuse for me. I do want to bring up, we do have some people commenting. Thank you. Brian says, I got married at 34 years old. It was best to wait. I think it's different for everyone. I know people that got married in high school and are still married like 30 years later. And I know people that got married in their 40s. So I think I'm very happy for you, Brian. I've known Brian a long time. And he used to be my neighbor when I was in elementary and junior high. So yeah, we rode bikes in the same neighborhood. So Crystal says, I got married for the first time at 38 years old. See, it's different for everyone. And then Brian says, again, I agree. People hide behind social media and it's creepy. Now, I love social media. I love the outlet. I think it's great that you can have conversations with people that you wouldn't normally see every day, or you're not even in the same state or country. I love how social media is social. But I think that there are some do's and some don'ts on social media. And this is the thing is, so I said 2 years ago this month, I found out that I was getting a divorce. I did not tell anyone, like I did not go on social media and tell anyone I was getting a divorce until late October, early November, because I was holding on to it. I was hoping, I had hope, right?
Yeah.
Because, and it's still very raw with me too. You're with somebody for 20 years. You don't just get rid of that, right?
No.
But because I had to go on the air, I think it was early November that I announced it, because when I talk about on my radio show in November and December, we talk about our families every year and what we do during that holiday time. And I was going to have to lie and say that I was doing the holidays with my in-laws like I had every single year before. And I went to my boss and I said, this is really hard for me every day just to show up at work in general, dealing with this. And I have to pretend that it's not happening. I'm crying in between breaks. I'm going on and I'm like, yeah, da, 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 da. And then Mike would turn the mic off and I would just be bawling. And so it was really hard for me to have that facade every day. So I talked to my boss, Chris, and then I talked to my ex, Chris, and I said, look, like, I can't do this. I have to tell people. And we literally had to sit in a room, me and my boss and my partner, and talk about how we were going to work this into my show.
Wow.
And so, but I got really good response with it because I'm not the only one going through a divorce. I'm not the only one it's happening to. It's very relatable, right? But the minute that I announced it, and then I went on Facebook and announced it, I got inundated with DMs about, you deserve better. What a jerk, blah, 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 all these negative things. And it was awful because I don't hate my ex-husband, right? And I was hurting. And so for you to tell me that I picked a jerk to be married to is also an insult to me, right? And this is the father of my kid. Right. So this is one don't I want to tell people. When people are going through a divorce, sometimes we don't need you to tell us anything except for what do you need. I'm so sorry. People were telling me congratulations.
Yeah, I see that a lot.
Like awful. That's not okay. You don't know the situation. But I know my friends like that were really close to me were trying to be like on my side. And I had to tell people that's not helpful to me. Like being negative is not helpful to me. I'm trying to keep this in a positive space, but I got DMs that were just awful. And then I started getting DMs about dating, like within moments.
Look, because I'm not going to be able to relate to you to the dating thing, Val.
But the negative thing.
But let me talk about that divorce thing, because that really resonates with me. So I guess I wasn't very good at being married. We all try, whatever. But I think that my partner and I, my ex-wife and I, were really good at how we ended our marriage and the way that we worked it with our family. And we have sons. And it was really important to me and her that we not say anything bad about each other on social media or any other place, because eventually those things circle around. So, my ex-husband was a jerk. Well, so that's going to make its way around the family, and it's going to make its way to the kid, and it's going to make, that's just how life works. So we tried really hard not to do that, not to blame, not to do anything. But you said people pick sides, and that's absolutely true. People feel a need for some reason to be on team A or team B, and not be, there must be someone to blame, and it must be someone's fault, and somebody must have done something horrible. And we got to wipe that out as a polite society, or as people who care about people. That's not helpful. It really isn't.
I had people that I was friends with through him that like immediately unfriended me on social media, where my friends and my family are still friends with him on social media, even when I wasn't, because I had to take a little break so that you have to step back a little bit so that you can take care of yourself. And we just became friends on Facebook recently again, because, you have to work on a divorce just like you have to work on a marriage when you have a kid. If you don't have a kid, then you can just say whatever, right? Go away. I don't need to see you again. But also, again, I was with this person for 20 years. They were my person for 20 years. That's half of my life. I don't just throw people away that I love and that I care about. That's me. I get
throwing away your history, basically, right?
It's my family. It's my family, and there were things that were hard, but that was between him and I. It wasn't between anyone else. And I would get invited to like these girl events of like divorcees. And I went to one of these luncheons, and I was so brave, Larry. Like, I think you'd be so proud of me, because I'm scared of women. But I went with one of my married best friends, and she knew all of the women. And they're beautiful, intelligent women. And all they did for about the first 45 minutes was rag on all of their ex-husbands. And they knew nothing about me. And then one of them found out, just because they're talking to me, that I was recently divorced. And they all leaned in like it was like, And I'm like, you know what? We're actually really good. I don't really have anything to say. I haven't talked to any of those women again. They are not interested. I don't know how to be, I guess, a good like girlfriend at brunch. Because I'm not going to sit and tell my information to people I don't know, for one. I'm not going to rag on my ex-husband or soon to be ex-husband with women that I don't know. That's specifically for me and like my best friend. We all have moments where we need to let things out, right?
Sure,
it's my therapist and my best friend know all of those things. But not women at a table that I don't know. Yeah.
I salute you for, I guess none of us are perfect in lots of ways, but it just.
No, I am definitely not perfect.
I would encourage anyone who's about to get divorced or who follow that plan. I mean, it's just it's just so much healthier in the long run.
Yeah. So, after and I would still get a lot of the guys that would DM me, and some of them were actually acquaintances of my ex. I met them through my ex. And as the months would go on and he's living his life, I would get DMs about what he was doing. And then it was like they were trying to make me feel bad so that they could then come in and be the hero. And I'm like, and so regardless of whether I knew it or not, I'm like, you know what? I already know that. And we're trying to get through this the best that we can. But yeah, I know that about him. I wish him well, blah, blah, blah. And then they would dig and dig and really try to get me upset so that they could be like, but I'm a really good guy, so you should come and date me. And I'm like, you're so gross. Like, if you have to get someone by like tricking them, manipulating them into this situation, no. And so I actually screenshotted those DMs and I sent them to my ex and said, hey, these people are watching you right now, like, and sending me messages. Like, maybe they're not the friend you thought they were, because I'm going to have my ex's back before I have your back. You know what I mean? Like,
speaking of kids, that person is in your life for like years and years and years, if not forever. Right? I mean, they're still part of your life.
So I want to give a little tease, because towards the end of our show, close to 8:00, I am going to share the worst DM that I ever got, ever. And I couldn't believe that I got it. And it went on, and you guys will not believe that I got this. And I sent it to my ex and he couldn't believe it. And it just opened a whole new world for me. But I want to go over a few things. So, I love these. So this isn't me ragging on people that want to meet people on social media. Be social, meet people, do what you want to do. So when a girl or a guy or whoever sees someone on social media, that they think is cute or pretty or they want to meet, they message them. Okay. These are the good messages that I've gotten, and some of them are recent. Okay. Hey, you single? Nope. Okay. That is perfect. You were straight to the point. Your grammar wasn't great. I don't care, whatever. But there wasn't like this guy. Hey, do you still have a boyfriend? I got this 3 weeks ago. Yes, I do. We're pretty serious. But are you married yet? No, not married yet. Can I take you to dinner? No, because I have a boyfriend. Well, how about as friends? No, because you're obviously trying to get around the fact that I have a boyfriend, but I'm not married yet. I get asked all the time, are you married? So that means they know I have a boyfriend, but they figure because I'm not married, I can still have a little something on the side.
So time out for 1 second. I could see somebody being flattered by that. Like, oh, they're interested. I must be hot stuff. Yeah. But it's actually quite insulting as well, right? They're like, she's not the type of person who would be loyal to her boyfriend. So I'm going to drive a wedge in here and see what I can open up. Like, I feel like that's sort of insulting.
Yeah. If someone, and we're going to talk about this in a few weeks, if someone is in a different kind of arrangement, an open relationship of sorts.
Sure. Different thing.
Then after you say, do you have a boyfriend? Then I would say yes, but we're in an open relationship. I'm going to tell you right off the bat. Okay. I am currently not in an open relationship. Have I ever been in an open relationship? Yes, I have. And we'll talk about that in a few weeks. But this is the thing. When I was newly single and I wasn't serious with anyone, it was very flattering to get DMs. Like, I would talk to people, I'd have conversations. Like, I actually wanted to get to know people, right? But like, I would get I got my first dick pics where it wasn't even a hi, how's your afternoon? It was just a D in the DM, like straight away. And I immediately blocked those people. Guys, listen to me.
Life pro tip. Listen up.
Come a little bit closer. If a female wants to see your dick, she will ask you. Do not surprise her with that. Yes. It's not okay. It's not okay. Plus, now I have a picture of your penis with your name, and I can screenshot that and I can post it. And I've thought about it before, but I can't because my daughter's on my social media. I don't want to resort to that. And then all these people have to see it too. However, I do have a folder of those copied because I get those and comments from married men that want to have me on the side. Now, I want to say this. This is not a podcast of me telling you how hot or cool I think I am, because I have been told from Mike, who is my morning show partner, who's been married 3 times, dating a lot, this is a numbers game for guys. It doesn't matter how cute or ugly you are. Guys that want to get in something or with someone, they're going to ask as many people out as they can. They're just going to go down the list of all the women that they know, and they're bound to be someone that says yes. Okay, so I understand it's a numbers game. I understand it's not me. It's a numbers game. Okay. However, these specifically married guys, you know, I keep those in a folder because like I don't know for myself, like, is it my business to tell their wives what they're doing? Like, I don't get that. If their wives are aware of this, again, whatever alternative relationship, okay, that's fine, whatever. But when you're a married man and you're not happy in your marriage, so you look to go ruin someone else's life by bringing you into that mess, you're being a double douche. Because you're not only cheating on your wife, you're making me or whatever woman a cheater, which is an asshole thing to do. Don't do that. If you're unhappy in your marriage, get the F out of your marriage. You'll be happier. She'll be happier. Your kids will be happier. That's what I hear all the time. But my kids. Your kids are happy when you're happy. And if you're miserable right now, they're miserable right now. So get out.
Plus, your kids
I'm not a professional.
Your kids are smarter. Your kids are smarter than people want to acknowledge. And if they don't know about it now, they'll probably know about it later. Like you cheating is also can be quite harmful to your children. So if you're staying,
it's harmful to everyone.
Right. So if you're staying and saying, "Oh, I'm staying for my kids," and you're cheating, you're hurting your kids. Way worse. So
and this is the thing. None of us are perfect. We all do things in our lives. But if you're not happy in your marriage or your relationship or whatever it is that you're in, you deserve to be happy. And you adding someone else into your mess is not going to end well. Like, there is a very small percentage of that relationship ending well. So just be truthful to yourself and then be truthful to your significant other, because they might be in the same boat. You don't know. I'm not calling you a jerk or a bad person for wanting to cheat or cheating. But what I'm saying is that you deserve to be happy. You cheating and having to carry that secret and that burden and putting that burden on someone else just adds to more angst and negativity, and you don't need it. So I'm done with that, but there you go.
Well, it is a weird thing that we're having two people and one's having a problem with the other. Rather than talk to that person or go to a marriage counselor with that person, we start looking elsewhere outside. And I know that's a little human nature, right? And again, I'm not saying
totally human nature.
Right. I'm not saying people don't, if that person's better than, people do those comparisons, which aren't helpful, but it is funny how we don't try to work our problems out with the people that we have problems with. But
it's hard. It's hard, Larry.
It is hard. It's work. It's really
hard.
And it isn't
I
fun.
get it.
It's probably not as fun as flirting. And I've not ever sent an unsolicited dick pic. Maybe just I can't even think ever anyone. But maybe that's really fun. And maybe it's more fun than going to marriage counseling. But I'd go to marriage counseling if you have a choice between those two things, rather than mess up your marriage and give Val a folder. Yeah.
Okay, so getting off of dating for a minute, it's kind of goes with it, but 2 years ago, and for 4 years before that, I had really, really long hair. I had really, really long hair, and I've always colored my hair. That's always been a thing, but it was really, really long. And after when I started going through the divorce, I was also going through the fact that I almost committed suicide. This was before 2 weeks before I found out I was getting a divorce, I attempted suicide. This was not after. So a lot of people thought I had attempted it but I had told people about the suicide before I told people about the divorce. So a lot of people thought that one came before the other. The suicide happened 2 weeks before my ex told me that he wanted a divorce. I did not tell him that I tried to commit suicide until a month after he told me he wanted a divorce because I didn't want him to feel bad and want to stay.
Yeah, right.
Okay. So, I was going through these two very different roads. I was trying to fix myself, and then I was trying to deal with the love of my life leaving me, and trying to be a mom and trying to work and trying to do all these things. So the only thing that I could do for myself that I had full control over was 1, go to the gym, and 2, change my hair. So my hair started getting shorter and shorter. And it was lots of different colors. And finally, when I had cut my hair almost as short as it is right now, I got a few DMs. One, you cut your hair so no one will date or marry you now. Because that's the only value I have. And that was sent to my Val Cameron page, which is my radio station personality page. This wasn't to my personal page. So this is a fan, a listener, someone that has chosen to follow me, is telling me that my only value was my long, beautiful hair. And it was really pretty and I really miss it and I'm growing it out.
So wait, time out. I told you I wouldn't be able to relate to any of this, but I can. Actually, so where I work, people are on TV a lot, and a lot of those people are women, and maybe even attractive women, right? They do get told all the time, a shocking amount of times, how terrible a certain dress looks, or how terrible their hair looks, or how they really should not wear that color, or they shouldn't wear those stripes. They get that feedback all the time. And I don't know, it sort of relates. I don't know how anybody feels entitled to comment on your hair, whether you're divorced or married or having chemotherapy, but I find that behavior atrocious. And I just never connected the two things, but they're very much related. So pro tip, people, don't do that. Stop it.
You don't know why someone did that, why someone changed. One, I really missed my mom and I needed her during this time. And I looked up at myself every morning because I look the most like my mom with my long dark hair. And it really, it still makes me cry. Like, I was looking at my mom every day in the mirror. I was also looking at a person that was just left, was just discarded, was just thrown away. And I thought that it was something wrong with me physically. I'm almost 40. I'm overweight. So I'm trying to change these things, because they're obviously, and I'm going, I'm trying to work on my inside too. But so I cut my hair so that I didn't have to look at my mom every day. And so that I could be different from the person that just got thrown away. And then I'm getting these messages from people telling me that people aren't going to love me now because of the way that I look. I was losing weight because I was going to the gym and I was eating right. And I had a woman message me telling me that my face was too thin. My face was too thin. So one, I can't be overweight. I can't be the right weight. I can't have long hair. I can't have short hair. I have body dysmorphia, and it was something I hadn't told anyone about, and I was just thrown away. This is how I felt. I felt thrown away and discarded from the love of my life, and I have people telling me now. And this is what some people told me when I would post about these comments that I get. Well, you post these pictures on social media, so you're kind of asking for these comments, and you have to deal with it. I get that. I get that. I post a lot of me on social media. So I do not have control over how people are going to react to it. And when they don't react the way I want them to, I can't be mad at them. However, I am a human being with feelings.
Yeah.
And if I was standing in front of you, would you say those things to me?
I can't answer for those people, but look, no. The answer is no. I mean, there probably are people who, unfortunately, might say it too, but very few. And people do hide behind social media a ton. But that's appalling. Like, I not in my life have ever felt entitled to walk up to a woman or a man or a child for that matter and say, you know, I don't like this thing about you. Like, who does that? That's outrageous. It's outrageous.
Yeah. So, I mean, I get that I do need to take some of that in because I've chosen my job. I get it. But sometimes I can't shake it off. And so some people say, well, post less about yourself or stop caring what other people think. I'm not ever going to not care what other people think. I chose a job that is literally my job to care about what you think. Like, because I do care. I've always been this way. I'm not ever going to change. Am I working on self-awareness and mindfulness? Yes. There's a lot of things I am better at now than I was. I have better tools. But it still hurts. The funny thing is, because we do live in a conservative place, at the time, I had gone to a cosplay night where I had worn a corset, and I had my new body, and I was so proud of it, and I had some cleavage, and I had a woman DM me and say, Valerie, I have been following you for years. And I used to love all of your posts and what you meant online. Basically, my Disney whatever. Lately, you have been posing a lot of pictures where you show more of your body and a lot of cleavage. And she copied that picture of me in a corset. She said, showing your boobs off on the internet is not a good role model. You are supposed to be a good role model. And I basically, it was a really long message. And we had some back and forth. I didn't yell at her or anything. I said, I'm sorry that you feel this way. I was in a costume. It was a steampunk night. Yes, I could have chosen to wear something that covered me up a little bit more, but I am trying to celebrate my body. I am trying to not be ashamed of what I look like. And I felt sexy. That doesn't happen very often. So I went out and I was proud of what my body looked like. And I have been that way more and more over the last 2 years than I ever have been before. I don't have a problem with the human body. Do I have a problem with people posting porn on social media? Yes, that's not okay. It's not the same. A naked body is not the same as porn. A naked cleavage is not the same as porn. Every woman has, a lot of women have boobs. Not every woman has boobs. A lot of women have boobs. It's a natural thing. I don't know what to say. I guess I can be more conservative.
Well, I'll say some things. Here, I thought I was just going to ask you questions all night, but
no, I knew you wouldn't because you're super smart and you have lots of thoughts.
So, look, it doesn't matter though what you post on social media. One, that woman telling you that you need to be a role model is what that woman needs. That's not what you need. That's what she needs. So she should worry about her needs, not your needs. The other thing, though, is this starts to feel like it's blending a little bit into rape culture. It's not the same, but it's not too far apart.
It's really close. It's really close.
Someone wears a skirt to a bar, or not to a bar, to a dance club, to whatever. Alcohol doesn't need to be involved, or it can be involved. No matter what that person wears, that does give no other person permission to do anything. Like, everyone's still responsible for themselves. So cleavage is not permission for someone to grope you or grab you. Clearly, obviously, it's definitely not rape permission, but it's also not like somehow blaming you because if somebody gets titillated or like that's their problem, right? It's not your job to be like, I cannot possibly show cleavage or I have impacted the world in some negative way. That's not your job. Your shoulder is not an invitation. And look, so you can dress really, I don't mean you, a person can dress really provocatively for response, and they do. They're still not entitled to be groped or touched. And so all this entitlement to tell you how you should dress, it's maybe not the same address as that, but it feels like it's on the same street to me. Like it's on the same.
I feel like the only person that can really tell me that is my boss, because I agreed to be a specific kind of way, and he has gotten complaints. So I get where she's coming from, because my persona is supposed to be one thing, and I'm kind of pushing the boundaries of that. So I do expect to get a little pushback, especially after I had portrayed such an image for such a long time.
Sure.
As I was losing weight last year, I put a bikini on last summer, and I hadn't worn a bikini since before Sammy was born. Sammy was born, my daughter was born in 2001. And so that was a big feat for me. And so I would share pictures of my journey of, this was me last year, this is me this year. And I was in a bikini, a swimsuit, and I would get messages and comments from people that were, sexual in nature, complimentary at the same time, but sexual in nature. And then I would tell people, like, why do people think it's okay to either write this on my post of me in a bikini or message me and say, dang girl, you're hot. Are you dating anyone? I'd like to get with that. And then I say, I'm not interested, but thank you. And they're like, well, you can't expect not to get comments like this when you post a photo of you in a bikini. And they're like, what were you expecting? You're posting this to get attention. Actually, do you know why I'm posting it? Because I haven't worn a bikini in fucking 20 years. Because there is another person that is on social media today that has hated their body for 20 years, and they're going to the gym and they're eating broccoli for lunch and they're doing the same things that I'm doing, and they don't know if they can do it. And me showing them that I did it means that she's not going to hate herself today, or hate herself a little less today. I'm not doing it for you to oogle. If you do, great. Keep it to yourself, or just say, looks great. Great job. Again,
that might be
again, I can't control the comments, and me posting it means that I have to be open to whatever comments I get. However, they don't need to be like crass. Do I want, when I get a comment that says, dang girl, you look sexy, do you think that makes me feel good? It sure fucking does. Okay. Like, it does. I want to feel sexy. I like it when other people think that I'm sexy. Like, I would be a liar if I didn't like being appreciated. Right. But saying because I'm in a bikini, I'm either one, trying to get attention from you. You don't know me. And if you did know me, you would know that's not why I'm posting it. Two, again, what Larry says, it doesn't give you the right to be like, well, you posted that, so that means you want some. Don't want some. And if I do, I'll let you know.
Sure. Tell me, Val, this is I'm trying to think how to phrase this. We'll just chat.
Just say it. Yeah, just say it.
I just want to be clear. I'm not worried about being offensive. I just want to be clear. So we talked about getting unsolicited dick pics and unsolicited like advances, like people assuming. As a woman, because I'm not one, emotionally, are those two things similar, or is one like drastically more offensive, or how do you experience those two things?
I don't get offended. Most of the time I'm laughing. When I do get offended, it's because someone, and people are like, just don't answer the message. I can't not answer a message. Like, I just like being polite to people. And if you message me, I mean, if you send me a dick pic, you're getting deleted, right? That just is, I'm like, okay, you want one thing, I don't know you. You're not even willing to have a conversation with me. So why would I want to have sex with you if you can't even talk to me? Right.
Yeah.
So I'm deleting it. I'm not really offended. I'm just kind of like, okay, delete.
Yeah.
But when I get the messages where when you finally get to the point where you ask me if I want to go on a date and I say, no, thank you. And I usually say that, no, thank you. I'm flattered, but no, thank you. And then the guy presumes to say, well, why? Whore, bitch, slut, why do you even post if you don't want people to ask you out? My Facebook page is not a dating site. I was on dating apps where I would post pictures and then you ask me out on a date. Like, I'm not saying you can't ask me out on a date, but when a girl says no, thank you, then
clear.
Just say, okay, great. Don't then berate her, put her down, belittle her, make her feel awful because she said no. Like, that's when I get offended and a little bit scared because a lot of people know where I work and a lot of people know what I do. And, I try and keep my daughter's stuff hidden from like everyone. I try and keep that a little like those pictures so only friends can see it. But like, it's scary when a guy then berates you and belittles you because I don't know what you're going to do next.
Yeah, I was just I didn't know you were gonna say that, but it is a little scary. That's so just one, it's like inappropriate, like it's a dick move, like it's what an asshole does. But the other part of that is it doesn't seem healthy at all to be so angry over a polite, declined invitation. It just is not appropriate. And it is frightening, whether they know where you work or not. It just like I don't know. So I mean, like I am far from the perfect guy, and have I ever made comments?
Nobody is perfect.
No. So here, I'll tell a story. I'll out myself. There was a person on Twitter one time that a woman, and she was attractive, and she made some comment about blowjobs actually, and my Twitter response was, "I'll bet this is a popular tweet." Like, so it wasn't like really like, hey, can I get in on that? Nothing like that. But I got called out on that by someone who's sort of a friend, sort of an ass. But I had to really had to self-examine and be like, well, I don't want to be perceived as the guy who's, maybe within bounds. But anyway, we can all make little mistakes. But I sure as hell didn't say, bitch or some, like that's a whole different level to me, and it is frightening. It seems like a mentally unhealthy person. A man with that kind of rage towards women is frightening. I'm sorry that happens to you, but I also know it happens to everybody. Every woman goes through that.
It's really hard sometimes to be to kind of be positive because there would be people that would DM me and try and have conversations. And I didn't want to assume that they were hitting on me because I don't like Larry, since you've known me, I always have felt like a guy's girl. Like I hang out, all of the jobs I've ever had have been with mostly men. So I just I feel like one of the guys most of the time. And I definitely didn't really think of myself, especially when I was married, as somebody that, people were looking at. Right.
Right.
And so when people message me, I usually think they want tickets to some nerdy thing, or they want to get on the radio, or, they need me to help them with something. So during this time when I, was single for the first time, I really just assumed that people were talking to me just to talk to me about a number of things. Right. So I would engage in conversations with them, and then it would roundabout way come about that, hey, do you want to go on a date? Or, hey, are you single? Or you want to hook up? Or blah, 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 all these things. And so then it's really hard when that is like a constant everyday situation for us women to then not get to a point where whoever messages us next is just going to get like jerk Val. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
right.
And then people are like, well, I don't understand why you're so defensive and you're such a jerk. I would say, guys, is understand that if you want to ask a woman out on social media, understand that you're probably not the only person that messaged her that day. And that you're probably going to be 1 in 10 people that actually asks her how her day is going, that you actually care, and you're not just using that to get to your move, whatever your move is. I like people that are upfront. Hey, Val, looks like your life is going well. You had fun at this event, blah, blah, blah. I would love to take you to lunch. Okay. And then I usually say, great, as friends? Question mark, because I don't want to assume. And if they're like, no, on a date, then at that time I evaluate it. But I put a rule on myself right up front that I was not going to date anyone that I knew on social media. And I found this out because even when I was married, guys would message me because I'm a commodity. I'm a unicorn. I'm someone that could give them 15 minutes of nerd fame or radio fame or whatever. And so to say that they were with me would give them something, but give me nothing. I call it stealing my vibe. There is a lot of men out there and women that have wanted to be with me to take my vibe, basically. And so I wanted to date people that didn't know who I was, that didn't have a preconceived notion of and I actually had some people really mad at me, like that I'd known, but you've known me. We've known each other a really long time. Like we've, been at Comic-Con together or, like all this stuff, but you won't go on a date with me. And I'm like, I'm sorry, I'm not dating anyone that I know. And there was a couple of guys that got really angry, even some guys that I knew that would like me on these dating apps and I wouldn't like them back because I didn't know what Val or Valerie they had in their mind of who I was. Because I'm more than who you would see at a convention, and I'm more than who you hear on the radio. And people put it in their minds and they put me up here. I've got a ton of crap wrong with me. I am not this perfect on a pedestal person. And people just wanted to either say they were with me or to steal the vibe that they thought I had. That's a whole different show. But so I just gave myself a rule up front that I wasn't going to do that I wasn't going to date people that already knew me.
Good rule. And again, I'm troubled. Like, I don't feel like that's a good reason to get mad at somebody, but like disappointed maybe or something, but I just don't, that's discouraging. So, as a man, it's different, Val. I don't have 5 people a day or 2 people a day being like, hey man, can I take you out? It's just a different thing. But there's the old way of like gaining trust and like going for coffee or tea or soda for 15 minutes just to low pressure it and just, I don't know, man. It just seems like there's better ways than to get mad. And look, it's also not easy being a man sometimes. Like, rejecting part of that and you're putting yourself out there and like it's a little scary. But gosh, there are those dating apps. There's plenty of ways, maybe now more than ever. And it still doesn't matter. You're not entitled to get mad at someone because they didn't do what you wanted them to do. Like, that's just, I don't know, sounds like basic human behavior, but you don't get to be mad because some woman declines to spend time with you. That's just not okay. Yeah. Now, if they say they can also be mean, and then you can have your feelings hurt and be mad about that. But anyway, I'm if I had to pick the role I had to play, the guy who's always getting turned down or the woman who's always getting hit on, I'd get turned down. Like, I would prefer to do that. I would not want to be in a woman's shoes. I just would find it.
Well, and that's and this is like, I will delete posts because I'm like, okay, what is this post going to invite? I would like, I'll take pictures 6 or 7 times to make sure that the right things are covered, because if I post this picture, one, girls are going to think one thing about me, guys are going to think another thing about me, and my boyfriend just thinks that it's so crazy. He's like, I don't understand why you're not going to post that picture. And I said, there's way too much boob in that picture, babe. Like, I'm going to get it from both sides. And he's like, I never thought about that. I'm going to get it from women, you know, and family, and then I'm going to get men that, and I showed him one day, I actually posted a picture where I was in a sundress and you could see a little more cleavage. And I said, just give it about, you know, an hour. And I had 3 messages within the hour. One of them from a married man. Because it's just like they see it and it's like a thing that turns on, go. You know, and it would be interesting to have like a psychologist on the show to talk about where that comes from. I should be able to wear what I want, because outside of my job, I love my job, and I have a lot of respect for my listeners and my boss and what that show means. And I would like to push a little more boundaries, just because I would like to support being body confident a little more than I do right now on the air, but I'm not, again, I respect my show. I do, however, make it very clear now that I am in a relationship on all of my social medias. I have it public that I am with my boyfriend. You can see that I'm not single. I am in a relationship with someone. But every single time I change my profile picture from him and I to just me, I get inboxes. And it's okay if it's like, hey Val, are you still single? Or are you single yet? Or blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, no, I'm with a boyfriend. Oh, great. Well, I'm so glad you're happy, you know, and then they don't talk to me again. I'm okay with that. Just be upfront and nice about it. This is what really irks me. I'm going to read, unless you have a comment, I'm going to read a DM, and it's a little bit long.
Love to hear your...
So this is from someone that I had met through people that are in the entertainment world. And I posted a picture of me in my Spidey suit one day, and they were shooting a music video and they wanted a whole bunch of superheroes. And I was like, any chance for me to be in my Spidey suit? Great. So he contacted me and said, hey, I'm shooting a music video. Would love to have you come be in the music video. Sent me the songs, sent me the dates, and said, you know, hey, my producer says we can't do these 2 days. And I said, you know, sorry, I'm in the middle of something. Let me check my calendar in a minute. So we're having just regular conversations. And this was going on for about a week, right? And I'm just thinking, this is totally, you know, business conversation. Sorry, I'm trying to scroll. And he said, please message me when you have time to schedule. Great. And then this was a couple days later. I just wanted to say hi. And I said, hey, sorry, I've been pretty sick today. I was sick that week. Sorry, I haven't gotten back to you. I can't do the video. I can't be in any thing that promotes music or musicians because of my job. I didn't know, like, that's legitimate, but also it was a teeny bit of a lie because I could see kind of where this was going. But really, I can't really promote someone else's music being a DJ, right?
Sure, right.
Unless, and he said, why? And I said, because of my job. And he said, okay, when did you find this out? And I did. I actually asked my boss and I said 3 days ago. But I also told my boss I was a little uncomfortable with it, but he's like, yeah, you can't do it anyway. He said, no problem. Can we at least hang out? And can I treat you to dinner soon? We don't have to do the video if you're not able. And I said, right now with COVID, I'm staying pretty close to small groups of people that I already know because my dad and my daughter are high risk. But when things get better, a professional dinner may work, right? He's still in the same entertainment business. Maybe it's a good contact. He said, cool, that's fair. I did a thumbs up. What's your favorite food? And I said, I'm sick right now. And he says, okay, no problem. And I said, and he did like some prayers, and I said, thank you. And not that I'm assuming, but I like to make sure I'm in a very serious relationship. I just felt the vibe, right? And he said, okay, I didn't know. Do you have any friends that I can hook up with?
That's shocking to me.
So I said, I'm in a relationship. Oh, okay. I didn't know. And I did have a picture of me and my boyfriend. Again, it is public. And I said, yes, I have pictures of us on Facebook. My profile says I'm in a relationship, but some people tend to miss this. And no, I don't have any friends that you can hook up with. And he says, okay, no problem. And then he started backtracking, like, I hope you feel better soon. Prayers, started being very religious and then he says, but if you have any friends that you think I could hook up with, let me know. And that was our last conversation because I unfriended him. He put a ton of work in for over a 2-week span to get me in a Spidey costume to a music video that probably was never actually going to get shot, to the point where I finally said, just to make sure, and I don't want to assume, but I'm getting some vibes, I'm in a serious relationship. And it's not, do you have any friends that maybe I could meet or date? Do you have any friends that I can hook up with?
So look, in some ways I feel like something's wrong with me, because that's so weird. I think that's so weird. And I like you said, your boss and the numbers game, like that's not how I work, but it's sort of foreign. But what you just described is pretty appalling. And I don't know how it's not insulting. Like, I don't know what woman is cool with that. Sure.
It was just a big waste of my time. And it was also really scary because I'm the kind of person that I want to help people out, right? And if I can get in my Spidey suit and go help somebody out, what if I would have gotten up there in my Spidey suit to shoot this music video and there was no music video? Like, so then I started, and this is how us women have to think all the time. So even when you're coming at us with some kind of business proposal, when I get message, and these aren't the only messages, again, I've worked in the mail industry for a long time. So I have to be cautious all the time. Are they talking to me because I'm talented and they want me to work for them? Or are they talking to me pretending that I'm talented because they want something else? This is how my brain has to work every single day of my life. And I'm not it is the way that it is. Okay. And so, yeah, we're cautious. So when guys get so angry because we're on edge or we're defensive or we're cautious, it's because we're getting that all the time. And I feel so bad for the nice guys that are out there just trying to get a date with nice women that need to be with nice guys. It's hard. It is a difficult time right now. Like, I am really lucky that I found someone, and it was actually outside of all the apps. And I actually had great, and we'll talk about this next week. I had great experience doing dating apps, but the person that I'm with now was actually referred to someone that I've known for a really long time. It was my first blind date ever. And, wow. We've been dating seriously for almost a year. So,
it's a good blind date.
Yeah. So, and he had no idea who I was, didn't care, still doesn't care. But that's not even the most shocking DM. Are you ready for it?
Yes.
Are you ready for it? Okay.
Hot with anticipation.
Okay, here we go. The show is almost over. But again, this is week 1 of 2 of this. Next week, let me give you this tease really quick. Next week, we're going to have one of my friends, Jessica, who has her own podcast that's going to talk about her dating incidents. And we're going to have a guy that I'm friends with on Facebook who is a woman collector. I'm not going to get into what that means. He's going to be on the show. We're going to talk about what that means next week. Okay. Val, I don't know if you remember me. And this message was actually in Facebook, how you have the messages you get from people and then there's like the hidden messages box.
Yep.
This was in the hidden messages box. So I didn't see it until 2 weeks after it came. Hey, Val, I don't know if you remember me, but I met you and your husband at Salt Lake Comic-Con 2 years ago. This was in 2013. Or no, probably 4 years ago, because she sent me this in 2018. And so we probably met, I don't know, somewhere 2014 or 15, something like that. I met you and your husband at Salt Lake Comic-Con, SLCC, she put on there. I just found out or just saw that you are getting a divorce. My husband and I think your husband is really cute. And we were wondering if he would like to join us for a date. So I got this in October. The end of October, early November, right when I had announced that I was getting a divorce. I got this. So I did not know what to say or do about this. My stomach sunk. This woman, instead of contacting my husband, contacted me and is telling me that her and her husband think that my husband's hot, because at the time he was still my husband. We weren't divorced yet. I was still thinking we were getting back together, right? And I didn't know how to answer this. And I answered back, "Hi, I don't remember who you are, but I think that this message is really insensitive. My husband and I are not divorced yet, and I'm still in a lot of pain. So no, I don't think he's interested. Period." She messages me back.
Oh dear.
"Well, do you think you can ask him?"
Oh my goodness. Like totally discounted
I went and looked at her. She was a hot woman, very good looking woman, right? Which hurt me even more, honestly, because again, I felt like a thrown away, horrible, gross, disgusting human, right? So I screen copied this whole message and I sent it to my husband and I said, "Hey, I got this message and I just wanted to make sure that you're not interested in this." He messaged me back totally angry that someone would have the nerve to message that to me. He was feeling awful already for wanting the divorce, for putting me through this, right? And he's like, "You can tell her that no, I am absolutely not interested, that I think she's an awful person and this was totally, just awful to do to somebody." So I messaged her back and I told her what he said. And she's like, "I've never been turned down before. Are you sure?" And I said,
Wow.
"I'm sure. Do not message me again." The only reason that I have a copy of it is because I had screenshot it and messaged it to him, because then I had blocked her from being anywhere near me or talking to me anymore. But the fact that someone would message me going through a divorce about my soon-to-be ex-husband to go and be with that, I just didn't know what to do. Now, I have, and we'll talk about this in a couple weeks, I have been hit on by couples since then, but me, not someone hitting on someone through me. Do you know what I mean? That's like walking up to someone in junior high and saying, "Hey, do you think your best friend would be into me?" And you're dating that person. You know what I mean? Like, it's awful. I didn't know what to do when I got this mess. Who does that?
Well, a narcissist does that, but it's appalling. It's really, it's gross and so mean. And I don't know, man. That's like a foreign world to me. I can't even relate to that.
Well, and a lot of guys can't. Like my morning show partner, Mike, like he would say, "You didn't get that message." Like, and I would show him and I'm like, "I'm not making this shit up. Like, this is what I'm dealing with all the time. Yes, some of the attention I do like, but to get past the attention that I do like and I want, I have to sift through like so much grossness.
Yeah, I mean, look, the thing is, I'd love to say anyone who sends you a dick pic, that's crazy. That doesn't happen, but I know it happens a lot. And so I'm sure
that's easy because I can delete it. It doesn't make me feel anything.
So weird. People are, I don't know, man. It just mystifies me. Like, I feel like, I don't know. I can't even begin to explain how I just don't get it. This does not compute. And how terrible look, for those who haven't been divorced, it sucks no matter what. And you're terribly vulnerable. And that just is so cringeworthy.
And when we talk about open relationships in a couple of weeks, that's going to be brought up again of things not to do. Like if you're in an open relationship or thinking that you want to get into one, you don't ever contact the ex of someone that you want to be with. Like that's awful.
Yes, it is.
You're an awful person.
Yeah, I feel like you shouldn't even have to say that out loud, and much less twice. And then the third time is just like, wow. I also will say that life is really different for that woman than it is for me. Like her experience here on planet Earth is way different.
Yeah.
So, well, I can't wait to hear more.
Part 2 next week.
I think there's a Twitter account, and I will look into it. This is a tease. I'm going to go look it up, but I think there's a Twitter account of inappropriate direct messages. So people like buzz this Twitter account when they get crazy messages, because I want to add to this conversation. And I think,
and I'm actually putting together a book that is just my copied DMs without names in them, because I have hundreds of them. These were just specifically for tonight. So yeah, if you can find that Twitter, that would be awesome, just to know that I'm not alone, but also not awesome, because that just means there's more.
So whether I can find it or not, I know I've seen it, and I think I'll be able to find it. But you know, look, not only are your experiences crazy, I think it's a little bit, I don't know about, I think it's a little bit universal. There's a lot of dumb dudes out there, I guess.
Well, and I'm just going to say humans, because women aren't any better.
Thank you.
Because I've had both men and women come at me in very evil ways through text messages, emails, DMs. And it is every day. And I do get it. I chose this job, but and I'm choosing to be even more out there with my podcasts, but I don't know that me choosing to be in a world where I like to have conversations and I like to be public means that, one, I don't get to have an opinion. We're going to talk about that on a different show.
Yeah,
and because I get that a lot. You're a celebrity to some people, which I don't see myself as. So you don't get to have an opinion about this and the other. That's crap. But also, if I'm proud of something, whether it's my daughter, whether it's my body, whether it's my job, whether it's my dogs, if I'm proud of something and I want to post it on social media, I should be able to post it without getting asshole remarks.
Absolutely. It is hard to be open and vulnerable, because there are always going to be people who don't respect that, but crazy town.
And I'm not going to stop. So if you guys think you're stopping me from being open and vulnerable with your stupid DMs, just know I'm putting a book together. So your DMs might be in there, and I may keep your name. I don't know. We'll see.
I don't want to get in your book, but I don't know what I could possibly say to qualify that. You'd also
and that's also not like to send me like the most ridiculous DM. Don't make that like.
I was totally kidding. Don't do that, anyone.
Crystal just said before we wrap up here on our live podcast, thank you both for sharing. I'm looking forward to the next podcast. I shouldn't be surprised by the way people go about getting what they want, but it still shocks me. It should be shocking. Like it's not normal behavior. And this is a thing. I am not saying that these people are bad people. What I'm saying is, this is kind of like, some of them are awful, but we talked about this during Cuties last week, is I want to think that people are ultimately good. And I believe that we don't give the people the right tools to do the right things all the time. And when we don't stop people from being hateful on social media because it's entertaining, we're basically giving people the right to do what they see. I believe in, our right to say whatever we want. I'm in media, but I also think social media, you should be able to say what you want to say. However, I do think that when somebody's being a dick, there should be some consequences to that. And we don't make any consequences for someone to shame, belittle, put someone in fear on social media, whether it be a man, woman, or whoever. We don't do anything about it. And it's a really weird, foggy line of what can we do. And I think just telling someone to be a better human and keep telling someone that it's not okay to do that, it's like standing in a room with somebody, and I'm going to throw this out, somebody, and we've all been there and not said anything. And this is me trying to be a better person now. When you're standing in a room full of people that you respect and somebody says a racist joke and you don't say anything about it, or someone says a sexist comment and you don't say anything about it because you're afraid of what they're going to think about you or of what the repercussions for you are going to be, we all need a little more courage. And I told myself a while ago that I was going to start saying something. When you see the behavior, say something. Let them know it's not okay. If they keep being a jerk, at least you said something. But if enough people say that it's not okay, maybe someone will be changed by it. It's one person at a time. One person.
I buy that 100%. I do feel like I'll just agree. Like, I'm just going to restate what you said, but I do feel like, yeah, it needs to be talked about, which is why we have this podcast. But look, Val, there might be people that are like, I never realized how offensive it might be to show somebody my penis. I should rethink that, unsolicited. Yeah. Or, I guess I'm not entitled to get angry and call someone a bitch when they turn me down for coffee. Politely, by the way. So I think the conversation's important, and I hate this platitude, but like, do it for the children is it's a big cop out all the time, right? But those of us who have children do have these conversations with your kids, right? And I'm sure you do, actually, but sometime when your boy gets a phone, you say, hey, man, by the way, it's never okay to send pictures of any of your body parts with this phone.
Or ask anyone to send pictures of their body parts.
Right. So, I think that's kind of where all this starts.
That's happening in junior high and elementaries now. Just so you know, we're going to do a show on that. We now have kids that are growing up thinking that sending pictures of body parts to each other is normal. So that's going to be their normal until we say that it's not okay. To ask a girl in junior high, and I had to have this conversation with my daughter very young with Snapchat. Boys asking girls in junior high to send pictures of their body parts.
Yeah.
They're learning it from somewhere.
Well, they learn it from older people who don't mind being completely inappropriate, and it does trickle down. And so if we don't have the conversations happening, hey, send me this picture of your body part. So if we don't have it with our kids and with each other and with adults, then it'll still happen. They just won't hear the part where we say this isn't okay. Yeah. And so, look, I'm all about communication and openness. So really, thank you for sharing everything that you shared, because it could kind of be embarrassing. So good on you, Val.
Hey, thanks. Thank you for everyone that tuned in live with us tonight, both on Facebook and on our YouTube page. This will be going up on our podcast page. I'll share those links as soon as it's up. We still would love your comments, your stories. We would love for you to be interactive like you were tonight. Next week, we will do chapter 2 of this, and we'll be talking about woman collectors on social media, which blew my mind that this was a thing. And the fact that someone's going to come on and talk about it, I am ecstatic about, because I am a human nature lover. I want to know why people do all the things. We're going to have another woman podcaster on that's going to share her stories as well. We're going to have a good conversation. So we will see you and hear you next Tuesday at the same time in the same place. Please share.
Tell your friends.
Yes, please share and like our podcast. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. And thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night, you guys.
Good to talk to you. Take care, everybody.